Hello, principals. Hope you had a great lunch. Katie, were you invited to lunch?
I wasn't invited to lunch.
Anyway, we'll talk to Jane about that later. We are coming to you not so live from the services building. If you haven't guessed it already, this is Shari and
KDO.
Jan let us know that you guys wanted to have some parent tech nights, and we're so excited to help the learning at home for parents. So right in front of you is the flyer that we hope to send out right after break. As you can see, the topics include iPad tools used in the classroom. We plan to go over Educreations, Google, Gmail, iMovie, Keynote. We're also going to talk about applying those same tools at home, managing your child's screen time, and resources to teach digital citizenship. Now, if there are any topics that parents have asked you about or that we haven't included that you think might be meaningful to the night, please make sure that you include that later on in this podcast. We'll give you an opportunity and let you know where you can include some of those thoughts.
One of the things that we were noodling about a bit is how to host these nights. Shari and I have come up with 4 days that work for our schedule to host the nights for the parents, but we aren't sure about the locations. Our first thought was the best place to host these would be in buildings themselves, maybe grouping, as you can see an example on the draft of the flyer in front of you, grouping the schools by threes and hosting at one of those schools. We also talked about hosting at the services building. The technology is there, the seating is there in the boardroom, but we weren't quite sure about how well attended the nights would be. So that's definitely something that we're hoping you'll have some conversation about. Obviously, if we're going to host at a building, we're hoping that building principal might be there with us, just because we don't know the audience quite as well as you would. So please do some noodling about that and let us know what you would prefer. And obviously at the bottom, we said if parents have questions, they can contact you. We were going to put our names on there and are happy to, but parents at each building don't really know who we are, so we figured if there's questions, you might be the best person for them to ask. Now, as I'm talking right now, Jan, this is your cue. Jan's going to forward you a copy of the flyer as well as a link. Shari and I have set up a Google form with a couple of spaces on it for you to answer the questions that we've asked you in this podcast. So there's questions about where should we hold the parent tech nights? Should we hold them at buildings or should we hold them at services? Obviously, if you do want to hold them at buildings, are you a building that's willing to host? And then what are some ideas that you have regarding the topics of the buildings? Is there anything else that we haven't included that we should include? So we wanted to get some input from you guys. Clearly, we want to make sure that all the stakeholders are involved in this process to make sure that these technology nights for parents are going to get us the most bang for our buck. So if you have any thoughts, please give them to us on that Google form.
Also, at the top of the flyer, you'll notice that right now, this draft is for third grade parents. But as Katie and I were talking about it, we thought that this night would not just be beneficial to third grade parents, but all parents. So think about that as well, whether or not we should say attention all parents or just attention third grade parents.
And that might play into the conversation that you have about where these nights are held. We're not sure how the structure would change if it's going to include more than just third grade parents. So looking forward to the conversation. Hoping you have a great rest of your Wednesday. And if we don't see you before the holidays, enjoy the break with your family and friends.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye. See you in 2015.